You was good, yeah, was good. Shout out to the homies out there. That's good stuff. Appreciate y'all being here. Yeah, so we're gonna be pulling out the playbook today, y'all. So I appreciate y'all tuning in. Nothing but good vibes. We out here. We're gonna be pulling out the playbook to see what we could uh do to help a lot of defensive teams out there. What up? What up? Appreciate you, man. What up, Charles? Yeah, it was a pretty dope build. I ain't gonna front. The reasoning behind that build that I had made was more so, hey, what up, Dijon? Um, Chosen One is out there. What's good, y'all? Yeah, so the reasoning behind that build was not primarily to play against weaker defenses, although that build will be goaded against weaker defenses. But when you're playing top-notch competition, which you got the notebook ready, sir? Yes, sir. Dominici. What up, Raphael? What's good? Grayson's out there. I see you, no excuse. What's good, man? So yeah, we're gonna pull out the playbook so we could go over some stuff. I got the playbook ready for us to make some things happen. Um, like I was mentioning before, primarily it's not the build that I made earlier today. I dropped a build video for a comp point guard, right? And the reason why I dropped that video is because this is what we're playing against like in highly competitive games. What up, Bam Bam? What it is? So being that we're playing against that type of point guard consistently, the best teams, hold on, the best teams consistently run this type of point guard. So being that that's the case, I said, well, I got to make the point guard and we got to make a build video and talk about it, get into the playbook and talk about why you may need a point guard like that running against these elite defenses, like these elite defensive teams with when I'm talking about these, if you guys have not gone into Pro Am yet, we saw it instantly. The difference between Pro Am and Rec is absolutely night and day. Night and day difference. We've been playing Rec all year. I just completed the 100 games in Rec with my point guard. And the defense that we run against in Rec is nothing in comparison to the defense that you'll see in Pro Am. What up, game winner? What's good? So we had to pull out the playbook so we could talk about it because a lot of point guards, I was watching Chalk's video, right? And I was looking for a point guard when I made my two-way three-point playmaker. And I was like, well, he said in his build video, he said, and mind you, he's a 2K League player, although he got removed from 2K League. I don't know the reasoning behind it or if he's been let back in or not. But anyway, when I saw his build video, he said, don't put no finishing on it. You're not going to need finishing. And that's because he's thinking comp level type of gameplay. And when I saw that video, I said, oh, hell, no way. Zidane Dada was good. I said, no way am I not making a build with no finishing. No way. Um, so that led to my two-way three-point playmaker. But now that I'm playing Pro-Am, I understand very well. I understand that why he said don't put no finishing on your build. Because what ends up happening, yeah, I'm gonna show y'all on the playbook. Mind you, these are all movable pieces. So you guys can see I'm gonna be showing y'all these are all movable pieces here. So the red is defense, green is offense. But anytime, I mean, this is what up, Dirty Jezza was good. So Emmanuel out there was good. So anytime that you see a point guard attempting to drive in the paint when you're playing against these elite defensive rotations. Yeah, let me go into my brush setting here. So what ends up happening is, hold on a second, let me get into my scribble. What ends up happening is, say like a point guard gets a driving opportunity here. Let's make sure, see if this guy is more up here. He gets a opportunity to drive into the paint. What you're seeing happening more often than not. What up, HD? What's good? More often than not. And let me that's right. Put that here. Put this because he's gonna drive in here, right? So he's driving into the paint. He beat the top defender. He went on the opposite side of the help defense. So he drives into the paint more often than not. And this happens simultaneous, like it's just seamless. Simultaneously, and hear what I'm saying, why I'm mentioning simultaneous, because this is all happening in one motion. This defender here up top is not going to be chasing the point guard. So as the point guard makes his way down here, this defender, it has no intention of chasing that point guard into the paint. In fact, he's probably allowing him to drive into the paint. He'll probably just let him ride out and drive into the paint. So what happens is that every single time the rotation starts, so this guy ends up driving. This guy ends up collapsing into the paint to meet the drive, right? So this guy's coming in. He's going to end up meeting a taller defender on every single drive into the paint. We've seen this happen, y'all. What ends up happening is simultaneously as this guy collapses into the paint, this defender here collapses into the paint here, this defender is going to drop to his corner to relieve him from the defender he just left to collapse into the paint and pick up on the drive, while this defender is coming to meet this guy here. So this is what we're seeing, like this happens seamlessly. We're seeing this consistently against highly competitive teams, and if the teams that are not running this type of defense, they get torn apart. So let me move this out here so you guys can see it clearly. So yes, that guy ends up driving. The taller defender is there to make the contest, and not only is he there to make the contest on this guy, but he also has leverage to grab the board, and that's what's a huge benefit for us. And when this drive comes in, or he takes a mid-range or whatnot, this defender contests, he has the leverage to box out and create an opportunity to get the board. But not only that, you guys see that all the defenders on the court also have the opportunity to box out. All defenders on the court create an opportunity with this type of defense that we all got leverage to make sure that we're getting that board. Let's reset it and talk some more about like what happens if this guy, because what we'll normally see starting at the top here, right? We'll normally see something like this here. So against elite offense and elite defense, this is what we're trying to see. What we can make happen here. And I want you guys to, if you see it in a diagram and then you see it take place, the diagram will actually kick in and be like, oh, that's exactly what we was talking about in the live stream. Definitely. Boxing out is so important. All too often, shout out to Game Winner. Game Winner just said boxing out is important. It's really important. All too often, you'll see like, the red is the defense here. The point guard will get over the screen and he'll take a shot right here or whatnot. If he gets an opportunity to take that shot, well, he'll take the shot, and then your teammates are gone. We got people just gone. So what that does is allow, somebody to come in and get the board. And that's what you want to eliminate. You want to create a big box here. So let's move them back. You want to create a big open box. Even if the ball drops down right in this area here. Let's go back up here and see if we could erase this here. Let's go back up. Even if the ball like drops in this area right here, like if drops dead in the middle, we have a body on everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like we have a body, so that is all the reds are defense. So look at how we're able to create a box. Even if the ball just drops right here, we're the ones that have the opportunity to recover the board, and that's why it's so important. This is why boxing out, wherever you're at, is so important, so you could create the opportunity to get that board. But let's reset it and talk about some like poor defense. What do you see out there with poor defense? And let me go back here. There we go. And how you could beat poor defense so easily. And this is probably what a lot of folks do here. This is going to be the screen setter right here. Respect for playing Pro-Am and not just running it up against randoms all the time. Hell yeah, Javier, we love it. We wanted to get in Pro-Am. Yeah, hands up defense is not it. Facts. You are more likely to draw fouls if you don't jump while boxing out. John All City Madden. Yeah, rest in peace, John Madden. But hey, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about what poor defense is gonna do. Because if you find yourself running this type of defense, you can say, "Whoa, let's make an adjustment." And I gotta say, it's a little more difficult to this defense is great against all teams as long as those rotations are set. But you're gonna see a lot of madness. Like when you go into rec, it's so unorganized. The rec center is completely unorganized. It's like you're not even playing basketball for the most part. So when you get into organized team play, you start seeing more of this. And not only do you see more, it's so consistent amongst elite offensive teams and elite defensive teams. This type of gameplay that we're talking about here. So what a poor defense would do. This is what poor defense would do, y'all. You'll get two up top, right? You got this guy guarding this guy here. This is the offensive hash setter. You got this guy defending, and you got the two corners. Poor defense, the corners will stay. So the corners will stay locked up on the corner, and these guys are pretty much run man. And then it turns into a 2-on-2, right? There's not going to be no rotations running a poor defense. Not to say that it can be done. I'm not saying that it can't be done. But the reason why rotations are important is because of the leverage that you create. So if you're thinking like a chess match, you're thinking a couple steps ahead. And this is where the rotations come in. If you're running a poor defense, what ends up happening is this guy rotates over here. So we will go into the brush. He'll rotate over. As he rotates over, this defender will pick up, and he'll pick up too high. So what ends up happening is this defender here doesn't want to hit the screen, right? But there's so much leverage already, as you see in this setup here. There's so much leverage to just, you're open. There's just so much leverage. You're just open right there for like many different opportunities. So what ends up happening is you create the slip if you double team or pressure the three ball. Run laps till you glitch. People just running laps, facts. They're just running laps in the wreck. So what ends up happening is that you get an easy slip. But this is where the worst part happens, y'all. Because not only do you have the slip on this trailing defender, there's a trailing defender. And these point guards, they're going to have Hall of Fame bullet passer on. So even if he doesn't, let's say he wants to take a shot here, say he wants to break down this defender, or even if you guys go two and eliminate the three ball, right? He's going to have an easy slip. And that's just a wide open. Or even if this point guard takes a bad shot, like he could literally just shoot the rock right here. He could literally just shoot the rock against two defenders, and look at this guy wide open for the O board. And if one of these guys collapse, if one of these guys give up, like the three ball to go for the O board, what ends up happening if this guy here ends up with the what ends up happening if this guy here ends up with the O board? He dots one of these corners, and that's an open three. If this guy collapses in, then he dots him out here. So you gotta. This is why rotations are so important, and this is why you see a lot of point guards taking bad shots, because they know they got the O board. Why not? You could take it because it's just like passing into the paint. You got free boards. So now let's rotate it back. Let's get it back to normal and see where we can go from there. Let's get it back to where we started from. Let's start from scratch again and see how we could start this the right way. And we want to expand on the defense that we're working on. We don't want to just, when you're talking about defensive rotations, you don't want to just settle on what you got, because there is room for expansion. Because as of right now, in a beginner setup, you could stay close and just lock these up, right? But when you're talking about more advanced setups, then this guy's going to be over here with Hall of Fame interceptor. He's going to step one step over in between two defenders. This allows this defender here to step one step over, just in case this guard comes this way. There's a pinch here. So you're eliminating that, and you're also eliminating. And he got Hall of Fame interceptor. He can make the contest on this guy, and this guy could rotate back as well. So you got options there. That's for more advanced gameplay. This is when you feel like your defensive awareness is getting up to par and you got the right players in the right positions out there. Otherwise, beginning setup, then you stay close and allow the rotations to happen. With this guy up top, normally this is how you're gonna see offense start up. And running against elite teams, you're gonna normally see this. The 5 out that you see in the rec center is that joint is obsolete when you're running against elite teams out there that have a shooter that could, when we're talking about completely dominate against a defense, you had them shooters out there that you're probably not even used to seeing in the rec center. That's a chess match, bait and switch. Facts. You said it. Game winner. The chess match, bait and switch, man. So let's start it from the beginning, because this is what we want to, the beginning is where everything happens. It's as soon as they're bringing the ball down, as soon as they get into the half court, this is where the chess match starts. Yeah, this is like imagine a chessboard, and this is when you're making your first move. Depending on how this guy is set up will determine what's going to transpire for the offense. Hey, what up, Big Red? What's good? So let's say he defends him face on, like he defends him head on, right? So we're straight. We're talking about like a straight shot. You're not leaning the defender anyway. He's defending him head on, and this is what you don't want to do. You don't want to defend him head on because you're giving the point guard room to make decisions. As a defender, you want to dictate where that point guard is going to go. So it's like process of elimination, eliminating what options the offense has. So to start out, what we're going to do is we're going to go back in here. To start out, you want to lean this guy. So you're going to step over to lean him. And you're not going to lean him this way. You know what I'm saying? Where he has more options. You want to, more than likely, the point guard. What up, Cap? More than likely, the point guard will lean toward the screen. But what we want to do is lean him towards your help defender, which is this guy here. So we're going to go back into brush and we're going to go back into this thing here. And so you're going to lean him in this direction here because your help defense is there, your help defender there, who's on the man setting the screen. So we'll go back and we'll take this guy here and we're going to make sure that we lean him by stepping a little, just a one step over. Keep in mind, yeah, on rotation defense, what up, Chosen One? On defense, on elite defense that rotates. And if you guys have any additional like tips that you would like to provide, please put them in the comment section because I am fairly new to this as well. It ain't like I study the stuff, I understand the stuff, I understand. But if you guys have additional tips, please share them in the live stream, put them in the comments. But what we're noticing is the reason why I say lean them is because we're not worried about this drive. If he wants to take that drive, if you lean him and he decides that he's just going to dart straight down the middle because this guy is a big body, this screen is a big body, so he's not really going to get in there. So if this point guard thinks he's an elite driver, right, he's an elite finisher, he's going to take this drive straight in. Neither this defender or this defender should be worried about this drive. This is where everything happens. The beauty, the absolute beauty of the rotation defense. Because what ends up happening is this guy ends up driving in. And we'll go back into the scribble. We'll take this here. This guy ends up driving in here, right? He thinks he has a drive because he beat the top defender. Like, I mean, the defenders up top is what I'm referring to. What up, Dipsy? So he ends up driving in. He beat the top defender there. Let me make sure I don't draw any like unfamily like images in here. But anyway, he beats the defender and he drives in. Now you got this defender here who's going to collapse. And the reason why is this defender, the reason why, because I know people have like questions on which defender is actually going to go, which corner player is going to actually drop into the paint. Is it going to be the left side corner player or is it going to be the right side corner player? And this is what I want to help clarify for you guys. So we know we got one defender guarding one offensive player here. He cannot do anything here. And we got one player guarding another corner sitter here. If this guy ends up going this way, it's going to be a little bit more difficult because there's going to be openings, because what ends up happening is one man is going to end up loose and wide open. We don't want to make that happen. We don't want to make that happen. So we want to make sure, the reason I'm going to explain this to y'all so you have better understand, not that you better understand, I'm just saying so you get a better understanding of it. As he beats the defender, what ends up happening is this guy's supposed to guard him. This left side, the reason why this left side is the one that's going to go into the paint is because this guy is so close. Now, had it happened on the other side, it'd be a different story. But this guy is the one closer to like relieve the corner and allow him to drop into the paint. And this happens seamlessly. It's supposed to happen like seamless. If anything, you're probably baiting them to drive in. You probably want them to drive into the paint because you know they're always going to be met by a taller defender with better interior defense, because your players up top that are defending, they're the ones who are going to be like higher level perimeter defenders, but the people in the corners are going to be higher interior defenders with good rebounding attributes. What up, Bless? What's good, man? So when this guy collapses in, being that he's so close here, simultaneously he's going to recover. So now this guy is met again by somebody on the inside, taller defender. Not only that, as he sets up, you're gonna make sure that you're in position, prime position for a box out. Let me erase this so we could reset and talk some more about this stuff, because I know people have questions and we're trying to give them answers. I know it could get confusing. Brown Cow, appreciate you, man. I know it could get confusing, especially you can't even consider running this type of defense without communication. And to the idea of thinking that you could run this type of defense with randoms is almost out of the question. They'll give you, if anything, you'll end up with a headache considering running this type of defense. You know, you'll have, you think 2-3 is difficult running with randoms? You can't even imagine this rotation defense and how difficult it could be running with randoms. One weak link, all it takes is one weak link, one slow transition, and your defense is broken apart. Let's give it, for instance, here. So this guy collapses too early. He sees the potential for a slip. As this guy rotates over, he picks up too high. He sees the potential for a slip. Now he's already picking up, but this guy is too late because he played him too high. This is the key defender here. This is the one that's gonna be key here, because it's like he's got two options. He's got either he's gonna, if he comes too high, it's gonna take him too long, way too long to get back over here. So it's really going to be based on him. This guy is just supposed to be showing to eliminate that 3-point shot and allow room. If that slip happens, then that creates room for this defender to maintain contact with the ball handler. So this is why he just shows. You can't reach in these situations. You know how the reach puts you so far out of position and puts you in that sluggish animation that's just a little more difficult to recover from? You can't reach and you definitely can't jump. You just want to show to eliminate the 3-point shot and trust your defender here. Trust your teammate to get back to the ball handler. This is why I was referring to the build that I made in particular, because of the speed, the high amount of speed allowing me to recover and get back to the ball handler. So important, because he just wants to show. Let me get him out of here. Let me get this thing out of here real quick. I don't want to get that out of there. So important that he just shows, because especially not reach or jump, because his duty, the second that he sees his teammate going into the paint to cover this slip, his duty is to recover that corner. And we gotta keep that in mind, yeah, because what ends up happening, you know, the way in which to better understand this as well is because if there's too much going on, you're like, whoa, my head is about to explode. I don't, that's too much to think about. But it really becomes second nature, which you guys are going to see. Because what ends up happening is also a sweet spot with Hall of Fame Interceptor. Yes. Yeah, say it again. It is also a sweet spot with Hall of Fame Interceptor. That's what you got to keep in mind. If any year this triangle type of defense has been effective, is this year, because of what Hall of Fame Interceptor is doing for the defense out there. Remember, Hall of Fame Interceptor allows 60% auto steals. That's you not even controlling your player. It also allows you to get 10% additional on top of that 60% auto deflection. So about 70% of the time, 2K can take over your player on defense and give you an automatic steal. So keep that in mind. I appreciate that, Red. Yes, sir. We out here, man. So bust this, right? What ends up happening is, if this guy is too late, just to help you guys better understand how much easier it could be so that it doesn't sound too complicated. This defender, we're gonna say, because I played this role here. This would be my player here. So I normally play along this side, right? Well, if I'm from coming from this direction, I would be on this side. And I play on 2K camera. But anyway, all this guy here is paying attention to, let's put it back here. The only thing that this guy is paying attention to, or this guy is paying attention to, is the ball and his teammate in the corner. So keep that in mind. Yeah, I know it may sound complicated, but his duty is just to pay attention to this guy, his teammate, not the opponent. And his duty is just to pay attention to this guy and his opponent here. So the reason why I'm referring to that is because the second, and this is why we got to trust in our teammates, because the second that this guy drops, if he makes a decision to drop, This teammate, although as we increase our defensive awareness out there with these rotations, we'll better understand it. But starting out in the beginning, he has no this defender here has no room to focus on this guy and what he's doing. So the communication between the two people in the corner have to be key, because if my teammate here decides that he's gonna drop, if my teammate drops, then this is where this guy is gonna go to the corner automatically. And he's not even worried about this guy and what he's doing. He may consider playing middle for a little while, but his goal is to get to this corner, so he knows he needs to, at the very least, get to the middle of two defenders, and then he's gonna have to holler at his teammate like, "Yo, you got to get over here." You know what I'm saying? So that's what ends up happening. You got to keep that stuff in mind. That so it's not that difficult in a sense that you're not like, man, this is too overwhelming, because if you just break it down to basics, you'll say, okay, I get it. You know, this guy doesn't have to focus on too much. He is just watching this guy here. And then this defender is just watching his teammate here. When he collapsed, his duty go to the corner or play the middle at the very least, so it allows his teammate to recover here. And the only reason that this guy would be dropping into the paint is because there's a slip or there's a drive. So keep that in mind, y'all. That's the only reason why a corner will collapse into the paint, is because somebody else, one of the opponents, are getting into the paint. I feel like I'm back in college taking notes on God. Hey, that's what it's about, Ruffs. It's about that, because, you know, and again, you're not gonna, you know, it's probably overkill if you're thinking about going into the rec. It's probably like, oh, get out of here. That's too much nonsense for me. I get it, because we played the rec for the longest time. The only reason why I considered even making a playbook and talking about this on stream is because of the shock treatment that we got going into the pro-am. It was straight shock treatment. It was like, you think you're good? Go into pro-am if you think you're good. If you think you're good, go into pro-am and see you come back and see you won't want to re-watch this live stream. Like, hold on a second. That's exactly what City was talking about. Easy reads if they know what reads they are looking for. Good stuff. Way to help low IQ guys that need this. Yes, sir, Gambit. Appreciate you, Gambit. Yes, indeed. But it's big facts, man. It's big facts. You don't see this stuff in rec. In rec, what you see is complete madness. In rec, they're not going to set up. They'll start 5 out in rec. You know what I'm saying? They'll start 5 out. In pro-am, you start 5 out. It's a dream. It's a dream. You know, they're like, yes, they running. Defense wants to see 5 out teams. The same thing happens in 5 out offense. The same thing. Let's give you an example. So they're running a 5 out. Because we started with this as well. We said, all right, we went into the rec. We went into pro-am so like ignorant. We didn't know what we were gonna see in pro-am. Our first game we played against Mo Bucket. Shout out to Mo Buckets. Appreciate everything he does for the community. But the first game we played again, that first day that we just went into rec, very first game we played against Mo Buckets, and we ended up winning that game. It was a tough game because that wasn't the game that put us on edge. It was the actual next game that put us more on edge. We ended up playing like a ranked 14 team. I don't know how they ranked the 14 team up against us, but they did. So they gave us the shock treatment. They showed us what we did wrong. But let's say we run a 5 out offense. We come down. You think you're going to run a 5 out. And this is what we seen. We seen this in pro-am. So we're coming down and we're thinking that we can make this happen. We're calling a hash cut. Call a hash cut. What ends up happening, and we're talking about consistently, yeah. Mark my words, if you decide, if you haven't gone into pro-am yet and you decide, well, let me go and see what they're talking about, you're going to come across exactly this. So we'll call a hash cut. The point guard got Hall of Fame bullet passer. Whoever's here has Hall of Fame bullet passer. So he calls this slip right here, and he puts himself in position to get the pass off, in, you know, get a nice angle on the pass so he could dot him here, right? So as this guy is rolling in, the same defense that I was just telling you about happens. He rolls in, the point guard puts himself in an angle to make that perfect dot. But what ended up happening simultaneously, instantly, was that this guy went and met him there. And he didn't bother chasing his primary defender, he ended up collapsing to the corner. Now this guy here is there to eliminate that pass into the paint. And the same goes for backdoor cuts or whatever you need. This guy is just always there. There's always going to be a taller defender that has the interior defense and also the ability to get boards. So if they call a backdoor cut, off ball pass is bumping the defender, even if he gets it put in an angle, he's available there to make a good contest as long as we're not sleeping and we have increased defensive awareness. So, this 5-out offense against elite defense, from my experience, does not seem to work. This is why you're seeing these point guards out there. Let me see if I can make that right. Yeah, you're seeing these point guards out there with elite shooting. They have this absolutely elite shooting. I dropped the build earlier today. 41 shooting badges, 38 playmaking badges, and 28 defensive badges. Hall of Fame, everything, 99, everything you need. The reason why you're seeing that more often is because you're going to run the Hall of Fame brick wall against these defenders here. In the Hall of Fame brick wall, this point guard with so much shooting creates so much attention. Oh man, and I promise you, you will see that point guard kill. Like, you will see him go crazy out there with the shooting. You're talking about Hall of Fame, everything on your shooting, and the stun animations that you get from so much playmaking, like 38 playmaking badges, you get a ton of stun animations. 5-out makes the court small, there's no space, makes playing defense super easy. You're playing the 3-ball, so let's go back to 5-out. Let's go back to 5-out. You're playing the 3-ball. Normally, you're going to run into a lockup here. You're going to run into Hall of Fame clamps. You're going to run into Intimidator, which is a proximity badge. Remember, Intimidator is a proximity badge. You're going to run into Menace, dropping attributes. You're going to run into high perimeter defensive attributes playing you if you consider running a 5-out. So you're not going to get the option to shoot one-on-one. And the ISO is, if this defender's only concern, let me go back into the Scribble thing here. If this defender's only concern is to play the perimeter, then that's a lot of weight lifted from his shoulders. He, in fact, entices the point guard to take a drive into the paint because he's going to relinquish his defense right there. He's going to give it up. Of guarding the point guard, he'll definitely just give it up and go ahead, drive into the paint. So his primary way of playing defense is just to guard this perimeter. The second that the point guard decides to take that drive, that's when you see this defender collapse into the paint, and then the rotation happens, and he don't need to worry about nothing. This guy here is meeting this defender in the paint. Taller defender, already there for the contest and already there for the box out. So 5-out just doesn't seem to work against elite defense because their primary goal is just guard the perimeter, and you're going to have a lockdown up there. And I think you guys know what these lockdowns are doing. They're absolutely going crazy against these little guys out here with a ton of playmaking and stuff. So you see that more often. The same difference is that the defender's going to lean him toward the help defense. So there's always going to be somebody here, and against 5-out, what you'll see a lot of against 5-out is they'll have this little pinch option here. So it even further eliminates the idea of a drive, or when he goes this way, this defender starts to ice him from going back that way, forcing the lean in this direction. And if this guy ends up pinching heavy, let's say he ends up pinching heavy and he end up in this situation, obviously we're forcing the slip. I mean, you might not see it. What a rude boy. What up, man? Hope you're having a good Sunday as well. You might not see it initially, but the defense often will bait you. They'll bait you into a slip. They want this to happen. So this guy ends up slipping, and instantly he just showed here, and then he's running back right here. And while simultaneously this guy is meeting him off the slip. And you don't think that it could actually happen until you see it. When you see it happening, I know if you guys are running rec or randoms, you're like, oh, that's light years away. But if you end up finding a good team, and by the way, if you guys are looking for teammates, and you need to find players to run with on 2K22. I recommend that you join our Discord. We're pulling up on 16,000 members, and would definitely love to have you, as long as you're on non-toxic type of vibes. You got good energy, come on over to our Discord. It's a safe place for gamers. We tolerate nothing less than positive vibes in Discord. So you're looking for a safe place, you're looking for gamers to play with, definitely join our Discord. What else would you guys like to see in this diagram here? Because we got the 5 out covered, we got the pick and roll covered, and what's the expectations for defense. Perfect way to describe why 5 out doesn't work. That pinch with Hall of Fame interceptor is insane. I mean, we see it. I mean, don't you see, right, Game Winner? We see this stuff. Like this, exactly what I'm explaining. I'm only explaining it from experience. It's what I've seen, and it's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare. Normally, what happens is on the 5 out. Let's say even if they spread out heavy, let's say they spread out super heavy, and they have lights out shooters at these hashes, right? You still get the opportunity to pinch. The second that this guy drives in and he's kind of trailing slightly because he beat him with all his playmaking, and he gets this little pinch, what ends up happening is it just takes a slight little bump, and this boy is losing the rock. Hey, appreciate you, Cap. It just takes a slight little bump from this little pinch here, and he's losing the rock often. That happens often. Some of these, like the Hall of Fame playmaking, he may not lose the rock, but he definitely ain't gonna have no opportunity to shoot or drive. Because remember, on the drive, the corner cuts in. And the further he brings him down, the further that he brings him down, he continues to ice, because right here is a perfect. I mean, it's just beautiful. This is, if you can't see this, y'all, this right here, that setup, this defense right here, forcing him, icing him, and not allowing him to get back over to the middle of the court, you're already winning the battle. There's a defense dream. This position right here is a defensive dream right here. You should already win the battle. It should be no points given if you end up in this situation. You got an opportunity for a pinch. They got no drive opportunity. Even if he comes up higher, he takes the drive, he takes this, he drops back. It's already a winning defense if you put him in that position. This is why I was stressing that it starts from the very beginning. As soon as that ball handler brings the ball up the court, it really is based on how this defender here. Let's bring up the scribble. Give me 1 second. Let's bring up that scribble. As soon as this defender here guards the ball handler coming up the court, remember, you want to take him away from the middle. So you're going to want to lean him one direction here. So you're going to take 1 step over, and we're going to make sure we move that there, and we'll hide this for now. I think I could, yeah, there we go. So we'll end up moving him over. You're going to take 1 step over to lean him toward the help defense. So you're dictating where that point guard is going to end up, and you're leaning him this way to create that ice opportunity. And what this does is eliminate the 3-point shot, and is actually just baiting them into a drive or a slip. We're basically just baiting them. How many times me in New York did it? I think that center was on that 12-0 team, had Hall of Fame interceptor and Hall of Fame defense. Class in session. What a B pro. But yeah, oftentimes what you may not see initially, teams are just baiting you into a slip. And you'll notice that ASAP in how this point guard, how this top defender, this on-ball defender for the point guard, you'll notice it instantly on how this defender leans him toward his help defense. And they're just pretty much baiting the slip. If he comes over and tests, oftentimes the defense will test how good your point guard actually is. And if you have weaknesses, those weaknesses will show through, because the defense is going to play aggressive on the point guard, because so many teams have seen so many lights out point guards out there. So normally a good defense is going to make sure they pressure that point guard a bit to see what he's about. Can he get back to the middle of the court? Will he be able to even get back? Is this defender a little light in his defense? So instead of just icing him here, he ends up going here, allowing him room to get back to the middle, which you don't. You want to eliminate that middle. So a good defender will lean him this way, play him a little higher, and if he decides to take the slip, you already know what happens. This defender comes in, this defender drops down, and this defender takes him. So they'll, a good defender will lean him in, eliminate his option for a 3-point shot, and force the point guard to take the drive in, or force the slip here, where he'll take this guy and he'll force the slip here. All the while, it was a whole bait the whole time. And you guys gotta have. Hopefully, you guys could see this happen. Hopefully, you guys get an opportunity to actually see it in the rec center. This thing when it actually plays out, and you know what it's about, you're like, man, that's a thing of beauty, because that's exactly how I saw it, which is why I'm so excited about like doing this live stream and being able to kick it with y'all, talk about it, because it really is a beautiful thing to see, especially when you've been running the messy rec for so long. Doing those 100 games in the rec center was pretty messy. It was pretty messy. You ready, Rad? You ready? Yeah, it was pretty messy in the rec center. You know, even when we went back, we just created these new players. So we're back in the rec center to develop these new players so that way we could be pro-am ready. And we're trying to run this defense in the rec center, and their offense is so messy. Intimidator is a proximity badge. So when you push to another defender, you're making the percentage. Say it again, game winner. So game winner is making reference to Intimidator being a proximity badge, right? So let's keep this in mind, why you want to lean towards the help defender. So you got this guy here leaning the point guard in toward the help defender. Let's say he's setting a screen. This is the screen setter here, right? So you're leaning him in. Both of these players, let's say both of these players have Intimidator. Or let's say the onboard defender, the initial onboard defender, does not have Intimidator on. Then he would really force the lean on the point guard. So that way he can lean him into this player. Let's get some scribbling going. So that way this player who has Hall of Fame Intimidator will be able to pick up on this ball handler here. When he picks up on this ball handler here, that's going to really, and considering Menace and considering Intimidator is a proximity badge. So when you're considering that it's a proximity badge, so you got a little range here of where this point guard's ability to shoot is not nearly as dominant against this defender with Intimidator within that proximity. So Menace does come into play heavily, especially against good rotational defense, which we'll get into here. Let me see if I can eliminate that. So Menace will come into play. Remember, Menace comes into play on contact. So initially, you may not see it against good. What I'm noticing a lot of with good, like we're talking about elite comp offense, is that they run it up nice and slow. They're not scared for the defenders. They're used to running against elite defense. So normally this point guard is going to bring it up nice and slow, because what he's looking for is either a crab to, he's trying to get the Trae Young going off of the screen. But keep in mind that the defenders with Menace and Intimidator are the defenders that the defenders with like Intimidator, Clamps, and Menace, they're the ones who have the opportunity to make contact on this player. So when he's trying to Trae Young or Crab out of screen, his teammate setting the screen right here. When he's trying to Trae Young him, when your defender makes contact, Menace will kick in. Not only that, you're within proximity to have. Not to say that they won't shoot amazing, but at least you have options that'll limit their ability on offense. And that's what you want to see here. Amanda, what's up? Blessings, Amanda. Appreciate you. So yeah, Menace will definitely come into play. I like the idea of Menace personally, considering that running point guard myself, I've noticed when people have Menace on, and I noticed the slowdown effect that it has on my point guard, where even certain animations will not trigger because I'm running up against Menace. Off the slip, King Limits is giant goat. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all. Yeah, but keep that stuff in mind, man. You know, we out here. We want to make sure that y'all understand this defense is really dope when you see it like come to fruition. We're working right now to make this stuff happen. Um, we're always in Discord as well, where we the way in which we communicate is through our Discord, and we're always in the Discord space. And there's like a party chat that you guys are all welcome to join anytime you see us in there. So we talk about this. We've gone through like just 3 hour talks of us just trying to break this defense down and making sure everybody's in the right position at the right time. You want as many badges to activate as you can. That's why teams make certain builds. So big facts, man. Like you think of this for a second, y'all. You got a ton of playmaking badges on your offense, a ton of playmaking, a ton of shooting badges that actually stack. When you think about your defense, oh my God. You know, if you're talking about chess pieces, then you got like you got like 100 chess pieces going up against 25. You know, to make some sort of like that's just the limitations of the defense. The limitations on defense, not to say that lockdowns can't be good out there, but when you think of how many badges are stacking in favor of the offense as opposed to how many badges stack in favor of the offense has leverage. This is why I think this is probably particularly why rotations even come about in the first place, because there's so many somewhat like restrictions on the defense. We're limited. We have a cap. We have a ceiling. Defenders have a cap and a ceiling. I play press anyways with my point guard. Trying to find a pro-am team, Carlos. Yeah, we're putting together our pro-am team now. We will be running also 5v5 matchups within our Discord community. So there's plenty of people within our Discord community. If you guys want to join Discord, just type !Discord. But there's plenty of people sending out messages just like Carlos did, inquiring for teammates to play pro-am. So you might want to check in on those inquiries and answer back and set up a team. So that way you're not trying to run out there and go against this madness with people you don't got chemistry with. It takes a lot to gain chemistry, yeah. It takes a lot. So you want to make that stuff happen, man. I was super happy to make this live stream happen. AC, what up? What up, Lester? What's good? I was super happy to make this live stream happen. It was even worse before they nerfed blinders. Lord, they're giving people nightmares. Yeah, I could only imagine. It was even worse when we had that left right cheese. It was so much easier for the offense to make things happen, and now we got a bit more balance, which is what we was looking for. I'm not even good enough for rec. Forget pro-am. Well, it could happen, you know. It could definitely happen. You just gotta, you know, practice, get right. A huge portion, a huge reason, like players can't really see their potential if they're consistently running with randoms. And what I mean by randoms is not finding players that you could help like develop some chemistry with. Your teammates will help you be better. They'll create opportunities for you to be better. In other words, I want to add this in there. If you're like, you know, what often happens, let's break this down, because what often happens, let's say offense here, right? So let's say you're trying to get your shooting badges. You're a player here. There's you here. You're trying to get your shooting badges, or you're trying to get playmaking badges, whatever it is. You're trying to test out your dribbling animations. What up, Grown Gaming? What's good? You're trying to just get better and understand the game. I'm gonna show you why your teammates like really, if you're running with randoms out there, spacing is just horrendous. So you're trying to get better over here, but your teammates are putting a cap on what you can explore. Because what happens is when this point guard passes you the rock, so now you got the rock, you're up here. What you normally see, which is a nightmare, is this point guard come right in this direction here, bringing his defender. Tell me if you guys haven't seen this. Tell me if you guys have not seen this. So you're here trying to get better, but this point guard is now in your space. So now this is gonna limit. You got two defenders here, and it's gonna limit how much space you have to make something happen. What up, 2K Unicorn? What's good? So you're trying to get better. You're running with randoms, but you got no space to get better because the randoms really don't understand spacing in general. And maybe we need to have a stream just about spacing in general. Maybe that should be something that we talk about because spacing is super key, and what you see out there is just nightmarish. It's supposed to be the next step up. Rec is casual, pro am for real. Yeah, because you know the rec center has never ever been at this level of competition. The rec center has always been casual and is a bit more difficult now in the rec center because more teams are just going into the rec center. You'll run up against more teams similar to us. We were out there for a while, running just rec, trying to get those 100 games. Not to mention the quest for the to win 100 games to get that racing suit is available. So there's more teams going in there, and it is like a casual pro am, but you're running up against decent teams and nothing like you'll see in pro am. But you're running up against full squads in the rec center as well. I remember when you could be in old gym city and people would run up, see you was losing your mind. Facts. It's a nightmare. It's just a nightmare. You go in old gym, you try to play the 3v3 no squads in old gym, and it is an absolute nightmare. Them boys know nothing about spacing. So you out there, you trying to get better, but you got a point guard trying to set a screen for you. Or you trying to drive into the paint, and here comes your teammate trying to set a screen for you there as well. Like, what in the nightmarish world? It's like, what are y'all doing, man? It was frustrating and humorous at the same time. They hook up with other sweats on Discord. Yes, sir. We out here in New York. What up, New York? Hold this stream. I'm at work and you already know I'm taking notes. Yes, sir. We out here, man. We talking about it. Trying to get right for Pro Am. I think our first step is getting our builds ready. Uh, and even for, even for rec, I mean, you could run a 5 out in rec. You know why you could run a 5 out in rec? This is what we've been doing. We've been running 5 out. And this point guard is not going to be the primary point guard that I made a video on today. This point guard is going to be like my finishing point guard. 5 9 minute wait, no brick wall, setting screens. Facts. I got to grind for 40. Good luck on that grind. It said for trying to complete the quest, so better squads have been in rec lately. Yeah, just like double rep and rec, all good. People team up. Yeah. So what ends up happening 5 out in rec is that these corners won't collapse. If they collapse, it's an easy dot. So, and if this corner collapses here, and this point guard drives into the paint with this defender trailing him as he's driving here, it's an easy dot. You know what I mean? If normally you will see defenders collapse into the paint from the corner, but a good point guard would just easily dot this guy here. So normally it is what you'll see, something like that. If a weak defender will collapse into the paint. The reason why this dot is open because they're not working succinct. It's just like this guy will collapse into the paint just because he's a ball chaser. So he'll collapse because he sees a drive and he's not. He's just thinking guard ball. I get ball. So he's gonna go give me ball. Pause. So he's just gonna go in there into the paint, and that's an easy dot to the corner. But what ends up happening is, in a good defense, this guy will collapse and this guy will rotate over. But in a bad defense, what you normally see in rec, he continues to chase him. He has to stay on his hash while this guy stays open, and this dude here just gave up a 3. Now, that's what you normally see in the rec center. So you could run a 5 out in the rec, but that's totally, totally different. It'll be completely different in pro am. Give me ball. That's what you see out there, no? I get ball. But that's what you see out there. And the rec center is madness compared to pro am. And I really enjoyed the strategy behind pro am and what we seen out there. It was just like, man, that's what we've been needing. Some that'll help us think. What's up with these quitters in the rec center? You can't even get nothing done in the rec center. These boys quit like, man, they quit like it, like they scared or something. You're watching these boys start up the game with an F grade. Hey, if you guys don't know, um, if you could tell by their grade what their grade level is, whether or not they're gonna quit on you. So as soon as you start up the matchup, it'll show you their grades. And if they have a low teammate grade, they normally just quitters. Even if they have, like, say they're purple, but they have a low teammate grade, that's because they quit out of every single game that they that they're losing, and they maintain their status for rec, but they play terribly. It's communicating. You can go to rec and no one says a word. If you do that in pro am, you're getting cooked. We've experienced that. Like I always say, you can't get better if you never take your beat down. Yeah, it's facts though. And people ain't finished. People are not. They don't want to get better. They just want to look like they're good. A lot of players, I should say. I shouldn't reference everyone, but a lot of players just want to look like they're good. In other words, have the purple, playing against terrible teams. This has been going on for how long? Where people are running, like people are running off the spots in previous versions of 2K, and it's currently happening in current gen, but people just hop off the spots, and then in the rec center they're quitting to maintain a certain status. Um, but their teammate grade is super low, but nobody really references their teammate grade. People don't want no smoke. But while people are out there quitting, we're out there getting better taking L's. So we take L's here and there, running up, trying to understand competitive games, and we'll take a L, bam, beat down. We got beat down, we make the adjustment. It's just how it is. You know, you get beat down, you make your adjustment. If you never get beat down, you ain't gonna know. Oftentimes, just speaking general stuff, if you ain't getting beat down, if you haven't hit rock bottom, then you don't even know what it looks like. And there's always going to be somebody that'll help give you or offer you that beat down. So I just mean to say, you know, you got to get there first so you know what it looks like, and you know what you don't want to, you don't want to get there again. You want to get better. So you never know how much better you can get. Similar to us when we're running 2-3, we're running 2-3 in the rec center thinking that we're pro am ready. And we go into pro am, mind you, like New York. New York had Silver Bullet Passer killing in the rec center. We took Silver Bullet Passer into pro am and we were getting killed. So, we didn't even know that that was happening in pro am. We seen some of it happen in the rec center, but we would use our IQ to get us past these games. Pro am is a whole different beast. Pro am is a whole different beast. It's hard to do because some of the animations restrict you from doing certain things, and the core is small. So, you know, I love doing this type of stuff, but y'all, I appreciate y'all being here. Y'all let me know if you want me to cover another aspect of this. I would like to get on the game and start working these rotations in the rec center while we're developing our players. Sometimes you got to take that whooping, my guy, and call it a day. Facts, man. I mean, listen, when I say we got demoralized, we were just like beat up on. But our mentality wasn't we were beat up on, I want to delete the game. Our mentality was if they could do it, we could do it. You know what I'm saying? They doing it, so we could do it too. So it's life, bro. People struggling or ashamed in life, low self-esteem, they come on 2K and salvage their flaws in life and pretend that they're doing great by beating kids in 2K. It'd be like that. I don't want to be so like cynical. It'd be like that. Some people need that ego boost. Life is hard. I'm not gonna try to say life is easy. Life is hard for some folks. And sometimes imagine sometimes an ego boost on 2K will help them be better in life. Maybe it's not for everyone, but sometimes some folks just need that ego boost. They shouldn't hold it as a crutch though. This is Great City. I love to talk the mental. Such a big part of the game. Big facts. It's a huge part of the game. Communication. Listen, we go into pro am and stay quiet. Talk about frustrated. Imagine having folks quiet and we're in a competitive pro am game. So yeah, it's hella frustrating, and we're working towards making the adjustments we need to maintain that communication. What's your thoughts in having two locks on a team, though they can't shoot threes? Yeah, if you're having two locks on a team, I understand you're trying to really lock up the defense. I think when you're playing highly competitive pro-am, it's a great idea to have two locks on the team. The limitation of the three ball is what's a little suspect, but that's all going to be dependent on how aggressive your point guard is, how aggressive your pick and roll game is. Not having the three ball option, in my opinion, for two players out of the five is a little suspect, man. Probably more than a little bit suspect. I think uh, three ball wins the game more often than not. And it may come down to like the very like last play. Even if you find yourself not shooting a lot in a game, maybe you take one or two shots. Those one or two shots in a highly competitive 5v5 game could be the most clutch shots that you need that'll get you over that hump and help you get the W. But yeah, it's scary. It's scary to think two players not being able to shoot threes on one team. That's facts. When you balling, no matter on the game or real life, your confidence overall is much higher. That's what confidence does. It affects everything. Yeah, facts. It could possibly do that. Yeah, you gotta, you know, you gotta see some of that stuff. Living life help you see that stuff, man. But I get it. I get it. I know some folks, we explored the idea of running even a sensor that doesn't have a three ball. Like Dom mentioned, what about running a sensor that doesn't have a three ball? So let's consider that idea. Let's go into that concept. So you got this center right here. This is gonna be your center. This is gonna be the point guard, right? So what ends up happening often throughout the whole game against these, and we're talking about elite offense. Throughout the whole game is that this point guard is dictating what's going on. And normally this center that's setting the screen is just gonna be for the pick and roll. And he'll slip when he has it, or he'll get the board right here if this guy doesn't collapse and pick him up. So normally throughout the whole game, this guy is just pick and roll. How guarding hash guards both guard corner at the times. Yeah, I'll definitely explore that right now. We'll talk about that in a minute. How do you control the lead passes you don't want? Your pass receiver gets led behind their defender. Yeah. There is a slight way to control it, and I'll go over that as well. Appreciate the love from New Zealand. Appreciate y'all. So, bust this. First, we're gonna talk about. We'll talk about the guarding in between as you enhance your defensive awareness, and then we'll talk about this slip from a defender from a screen setter with no shooting, and then we'll talk about the lead passing. So this point guard here, right? This point guard is running. He brings the ball down, but remember, this guy can't shoot, so his only option is to slip. And mind you, against elite defensive teams, we're almost baiting the offense to go into the slip option, to take that slip option. So in other words, he's not going to play behind him. He's going to play here and show, because his primary role is to go dart down to the corner and alleviate this person to come into the paint and guard the slip. So that's going to be his primary role. So he's not going to play here. He's going to do this. So considering a center who's setting a screen with Hall of Fame brick wall but doesn't have any shooting, what I'm trying to get at here is that the good majority of the game, your center is not going to need to shoot. Like, but we're talking about having a center that doesn't have the option at all to shoot. That's very different. Because what would normally happen, the reason why I'm saying this is because, like me, I guard tendencies. I guard the tendency of the shooter. So if they go three, even 4 quarters, or 3 3/4 of the game, us playing heavy defense on the shooter, eliminating that 3-point shot. If he even just takes a little like route back at the end of the game and it's a tight game, listen, he hasn't shot the whole game. And I'm a player that likes to guard tendencies. Not that I would just give up a three, but I'm a player personally that really likes to guard tendencies. So if I know this player is more aggressive and he's been shooting threes damn near the whole game, if I am going to leave anybody open, I would leave that center that I personally thought didn't have no three ball. And if he just decides to take a route back, he may have like the game-winning shot. So the idea of creating a center with no three ball is kind of scary to me, but I could understand I could see how it could work if your point guard is completely lights out and could take it. Like, he loves getting two defenders. He loves the idea of creating opportunities. I could see it happen, but man, the option to have a three ball, I think is really something else. That's just how I personally see that. That was Don considering the idea of no three ball, and like I said, I think it could work, but it gives the defense just a little more room and a little more freedom to guard the ball handler, knowing that this guy is going to slip in every single time. There's no 3-point option from that center. So let's talk about guarding in between. The lead passes as well. So it's better to have a lock that can hit. Yeah, facts. A mini than have two locks that can't shoot threes. Big facts. Yeah, I see it. I think you need to hit threes. Threes are the game you need to. I think you need to shoot. Yeah, yeah. You barely have a chance. Middies are like a lost art. If you're not taking moving middies, then you're probably not gonna have the mid-range option. The only option that you'll see that is a 2-3 defense, and they'll set up a midi at half court, or the point guard driving in and take the midi. But the middies are a really hard option out there with the defense that you're seeing out there. So if anything, you're trying to spread as far out. If anything, you're trying to shoot further out, create a lockdown that can shoot a little bit even further out to spread this defender over here and this guy spread over here or whatnot. But let's talk about in between, yeah, because yeah, for sure, I appreciate you being here. Let's talk about in between, because what we're seeing here, I noticed that some of the best defenses. So this player is going to bring him here. And let's kind of elaborate on playing in between. So like considering this guy here, we normally don't want to have this backdoor cut, right? We don't want that to happen. And he don't necessarily need to play in between. But let's say if he just plays like somewhere right here, where quickly eliminate the slip, and he's still able to contest here if he needs to. Mind you, if he does slip, remember this guy is dropping here. So he's going to actually commit, and it's easier to commit if he's playing over here as opposed to playing right up on him. And you don't want to see, as we progress with this type of defense, we want to see our players set up more like this. We want to see them set up more like this as opposed to just being right up on him. As we progress and it becomes second nature, we want to see more of this stuff here. Setting up one step over in between the lanes, making sure you're in the passing lanes. We got the right players out there with the right badge set up, like Hall of Fame interceptor. Everything is working good. Off ball pass even to eliminate some of these, or you could bump and harass with some of the backdoor cuts. But it's a lot to get through. It's a lot to pass through if you're playing here, and if we have the defensive awareness. If this guy falls asleep, let's say this guy falls asleep right here, and the point guard calls the backdoor cut. He falls asleep. GG, man. What's the sense of stepping up if you're falling asleep for the backdoor cut? If you're falling asleep for a backdoor cut, what's the sense of stepping over? If you're going to fall asleep, at least fall asleep and eliminate the lane. So if you find yourself sleepy out there, man, like a lot of, sometimes we be sleep. So a lot of us be doing that. You find yourself sleepy out there, take a nap, but guard the lane. You feel what I'm saying? Take your nap, but make sure your nap is preventing this guy to take that backdoor cut. What if corner was a point guard? What do you mean corner was a point guard? Like the defending corner? The defending corner could be a point guard. The defending corner, I've seen it happen. I've seen a lot of defenses. I've seen this happen as well. A lot of defense will put their small player in the corner. But what happens with the small player in the corner is that they can't make. So when say they call a hash cut, right? They call a hash cut here. We can't run this defense with a small guy here to pick up. He could get in the passing lane and hopefully something happened there. But the opportunity to make a contest is something. Not only that, normally this player is going to be a tall player as well. Not only that, he'll make a contest, but this player has more of an opportunity to go up and grab the board. And that's what we want to eliminate. This is why we want taller players. And not to say that it doesn't happen and people can't run it effectively. I get it. But you're having a short player here. He's not nearly as effective as having a taller player down low, because even if he is able to make a contest, or he's able to get in the passing lane, if by chance this hash cutter or this backdoor cutter gets the rock, he goes up. This player here, the small guard, is not nearly as good as getting boards. So they still have second chance opportunities, and that's what you're trying to eliminate, is those second chance opportunities. So I get the option. All ball helps with players cutting to the basket. Facts. Yeah. I'm a 6'10 glass cleaner lock. Sometimes the small guards get blown by a lot. Yeah, this is what I'm trying to get at here with this particular defense, y'all. With this particular defense, we want to get blown by. So we're actually encouraging players to take the slip or the blow by. This is what you got to keep in mind, especially as a 6'10. And you may not see this in the rec center, but your 6'10 will be guarding down here. You get what I'm saying? So you'll be like this guy here, 6'10. So when this point guard blows by this top defender, it's your duty. Boom, you meet him. He drops down. Now this point guard's responsibility is not to guard this player. It's not to guard the point guard. His responsibility is to get over here to the hash. Now your responsibility as a 6'10 glass cleaning comes over here. And you're picking up on the blow by. Every single time when that rotation happens simultaneously, it's a GG, and it's great for everyone on the team, which is what's beautiful about it. Everyone on the team benefits for this, and nobody's falling asleep. There's always motion for players. You know what I'm saying? So you know how you can get bored right here? You know, most corner defenders just get bored sitting there. Most corner shooters just get bored sitting there. Well, on the defense, with this type of defense, everyone's in action almost every play. So everyone goes in action and nobody falls asleep. This defender cuts in, this defender drops down, this defender here goes to the hash while this guy's getting met right here by this guy. And not only that, we create the options. What's the beauty of this is that we create the options for, like, the boards are in our favor. Rebounds are heavily in our favor. Yeah, that's the problem that you see with randoms. You know, if you guys spread this video, like even the video that I just made, I made a whole video talking about exactly this. This is the live stream that I just want to connect with y'all. But I made a whole video talking about exactly this. If you guys share that, or you start like saying, if you say you want to create a team yourself, say, yo, but watch this video. Check out this defensive video. Go over that so you understand what we're trying to do. Go get in a party. I don't recommend PlayStation parties, but I highly recommend our Discord parties. So join our Discord. But if you get into one of the Discord parties, the reason why I say that because it's safer in Discord. PlayStation parties easily get hacked, and it's super easy. Free software, they can hack you. Anyway, what I'm getting at here is that you're able to develop some chemistry. It's definitely not going to work with randoms that you don't know. That type of defense is definitely not going to work if you're not, able to communicate with your teammates. It's hard in rec to get rotations like that. There's always one or two sleep, which is easy cash. Facts, Swisher. Yeah, facts. It's facts. There's against highly competitive offenses. You're running this type of defense. In the rec center, you're not seeing this type of wildness. I mean, in the rec center, you're only seeing this type of wildness. You don't mind getting beat to the mid range because when you get into your rotations, most point guards aren't good passers. So when you rotate, you're looking for bad passes. You want to make the point guards overthink. All right, so facts. Let's talk about what offensive options, because I'm not even 100% sure about this, but I could just go with what I've seen. What offensive options do you have as a point guard running against this defense? This is what we're talking about, Big Dan. So let's talk about that, because a huge problem is that the point guard doesn't know how to beat that defense. And I could just give one option that I've seen out there. I could just tell you one option that I've seen. against this rotational defense. And when you see it happening at the elite level, you're like, whoa, that's super tough. What do we do here? What I've noticed that it's never going to be one pass. You guys keep in mind, one of the, if you guys don't know, one of the fastest ways to move the ball is by passing it. You will never move faster than a pass, ever. It's just how it is. So what I want to get at here, and you don't need to put the ball on the ground. Like, you could literally just one pass to another is going to be the fastest way to move the rock. So what I'm getting at here is, as this point guard goes this way, the second that this guy slips, which is what we're baiting that slip, there's going to be this instant, like there's going to be a slight instance in the as this guy slips here. Remember, this becomes the responsibility of this taller player, the interior defender, to come into the paint. But there's going to be just 1 second that you have here to dot the corner. I don't know if I went too big there. Let's go back. It's going to be this. I mean, that's too small. Let me make that a little bigger there. There we go. There's one instant that he has an opportunity to dot the corner. And this is going to be as this defender is trailing, because remember, it's going to happen simultaneously. As soon as the slip happens, this guy continues to chase him down. This guy meets this slip into the paint, and he's going to be making this transition to the corner. But remember, this guy's going to be a defender. So as this guy makes his transition to the corner, you have the option. But I believe against this defense, in my opinion, is one pass to another. So even if this option, if this guy does not have the space to shoot because this defender was too quick, I believe that this player needs to be able to get to this hash while this defender's trailing. So as he passes it to him, maybe he passes it right back. Maybe that's an option. If we ran that play once before and it worked, we only ran it once and it worked, and he was wide open for the pass back. Let me get back into the scribble and the erase. So what I'm saying here, and we'll go back to the brush. What I'm saying here is that he'll pass it to him, and then this player will pass it right back to him for the open shot with the little bit of space that he got from the trailing defender. As an option, I don't know if you guys have more options, but this is some of the stuff that I was seeing. And it's good to talk about it because we need to find out how to break that down. You know, they're going to jump automatically. Yeah, and even if they jump, you could create your shot after that. So it's definitely dope. Definitely dope stuff to see. Definitely dope stuff to get into. Well, my homies, this was a great stream. I want to do more streams like this talking about it. So if you guys come up with ideas, we're an hour in. I think I'm going to keep streams like this a little bit shorter. And maybe I'll start up another live stream of us just playing. So if you guys want to tune into that, I'll be on a little later. I want to eat some dinner and maybe get on about 6 o'clock, and we'll start actual live stream of us playing the game, trying to put this stuff into action and maybe showcase it for you guys how we do it out there. We're going to start this off in rec because we're still developing players. So I'm still trying to get badges on the point guard build that I showed you guys earlier today in the video. So I need to get those badges up. We're going to try to do that in the rec center, put this defense into action, and see if you guys could find new ways to play better defense. I appreciate you guys so much. I hope you all have a safe and blessed rest of your night. I hope you have an amazing start to your week. I'll catch you guys a little later. Easy out.